Welcome back to another episode of fixbuildrace. Today I'm going to be building the engine loom for Sam's Cressida. First off, we've got to clean this thing down because it's absolutely filthy. So now that I've actually got the loom opened up a little bit, I figure I should show you what I did to mark some wiring lengths. So when the engine was in the car and the loom was still fitted to the engine, I cable tied just bits of wire to the existing parts of the loom and put little notes on them as what these were. So there's power steering solenoid there for the steering rack, there's oil switch there. And then things like the intake air temperature sensor that we have to add. So I've marked all those lengths that I need. I didn't do lambda and mat because we didn't have those units mounted in the car, which we probably should have, but that'll be alright. I'll just leave some length and then I can cut it to the right length and add the connector later. So now I'm going to go through with my multimeter and verify all the wires that I've found that I need in this diagram. And I want to say a massive thank you to Calvin from Cartunenz NZ. Check him out on YouTube if you want any more 1UZ content. He is the 1UZ master. So yeah, anything 1UZ related, he's the man to go to. He gave me all the data I need to wire up this 1UZ. If you're trying to do the same thing, definitely get in touch with him. He can give you a wiring data package which literally tells you everything. We didn't know what vehicle the engine and loom and ECU was from. We just sent him the photo of the header and he was like, oh yep, I know that, send us all the data and it all matches up. So I've picked out, as you can probably see in here, all highlighted, all the wires that I'm going to be using in this loom, which there aren't very many. Alright, I'm about to start cutting. As I said before, factory, the 1UZ was batch fire injection, so I'm going to split it up at the joins and then leave one going straight to the ECU and then join in a new wire and put that straight to the ECU. So, yes, point of no return. Let's hope I know what I'm doing. For this last one, I'll just show you what I'm doing kind of up close. So it's there, I think it's number 2, yep, it's there and nowhere else. So then I will untape, this is the join here, 2 into 1, undo it. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but you can kind of see which wire is joined onto the other, which is this top one. So I'm just taking those ones off. Wouldn't really matter because these are good strong crimp connections, but I don't know, just what I'm doing. And I'll take this back so that it's further back than this joint, and take this one up. Can't really get heat shrink on unless I cut the wire off at the other end and pushed heat shrink all the way down, which I could do because I am cutting them anyway, but I think tape should be just fine. That's that one sealed up. Grab this guy. There's some wire. Grab these U-crimps that we use here. They're nice strong joints, pretty quick to use. So I'll just cut one of them off. Grab this wire, the new wire, and throw a bit of heat shrink on there so I don't forget. As you can see, I've tried to match the size of the wires I've made sure that this wire is definitely up to the task. I think this wire is rated for like 8 amps or something, so it'll be more than enough for an injector. An injector only draws about 1 amp. Get the wires. Both in the crimp there, and then get my tool on it. Really give it everything. So as you can see, it's a nice strong join. There's wire coming out both ends of the crimp, which we want. So I'll just trim that off a little bit so it doesn't pierce the heat shrink, and then shrink it up. Alright, so it's a new day and we're back again working on the loom. So just little FYI, I'm doing this in the mornings before work, so this is over quite a few days, just smashing out a couple of hours before work each day. So today I've picked up some goodies. So I've got these little battery studs that we can mount in the car, and these are gonna have positive terminals coming onto them so that we have a point for all our powers to come off of. When I say all our powers, it's just going to be the battery power, and then the powers for the relays I'm adding are going to come off this, and then the battery's power is going to carry on into the engine bay. So I have one inside, and I've got another one for the engine bay, and then I've got 5 of these relay holders. So I'm going to make up a little fuse and relay box that we're just going to mount inside the car. This is kind of the cheaper option, and it's all going to be hidden because it's going to be up under the dash, so we're not too fussed about how it's all going to look. These all just slide together, so I've got 5 relay holders and 7 fuse holders, and they all are just going to clip together, and I'll arrange them so they don't look too bad. Could have done a fuse box, but that just adds a little bit more bulk and more expensive, so just decided to go with that option. Alright, now I'm pretty sure I'm at the stage where I've got every wire from the ECU cut off here. So now I can start pulling all the wires back through the loom and remove all the connectors I don't need. As you can see, there's still a bunch of wires left in this connector, pretty much all the wires left in this connector. This loom is from an automatic vehicle, so there's going to be all the auto plugs and wires coming out. He's not running AC, he doesn't need this diagnostic connector. Half of the idle control wires are going because it was like an 8 wire thing or something, 6 wire idle control, so there will only be 2 there now, and yeah, so start pulling wires out. And that right there, I believe, is this whole gearbox loom. No. Yes? Let's go. Tangled up. Whole gearbox loom removed in one go. So that's the whole loom for the auto gearbox, fully cut out. So that's removed quite a bit of bulk, as you can see. Getting pretty close now to the final wires. Just a few more and they'll all be diagnostic connector and a couple of other things that we're not using. Alrighty. And that should be the last of it. For now at least, that's the last connector that I need to remove. And this loom is looking a lot slimmer. It has been to Jenny Craig. It has drunk all the skinny teas it can. So yes, this is pretty much what we're going to be left with. So this is the only other one that needs to be removed, but as you can see it's got the length for my reverse lights on here. So I'll add in reverse lights and then I'll remove that. So what I need to do now is add in all these other wires that I have labelled and marked. What else? Not a lot. We're getting there. And then I can cover it all up, slap it on the engine, and Bob's your auntie. So as you can see, I've got the whole front end of the loom all sausaged up. So this is all the ECU wires, body connectors, and wires for my relay. The reds are marking breakouts, and this one is marking where I want the grommet to sit. So this cable tie, I'll cut this off before I feed the grommet on, but that was marking where the firewall was when we had it in the car. So now I'll set up the camera and wrestle on the grommet. Should be fun for you to watch. Alright, here we go. Hopefully I haven't forgotten any wires, because then I'll have to feed them through the grommet when it's all tight on these. So, what's going on? Not actually too much fight, which is quite good. Not surprising. And there we go. And that's a grommeter. That did not go as terribly as I thought it might. Alright, here's my body connector from the 5ME loom, so this will plug into the Cressida's plug, and I've got all of these labelled, so now I just start pinning them in to these wires, until like that. Cool. We're done. Sick. Alright, now it's time for a lot of taping. I've only got about an hour left of the morning session, so let's try and get it done. The interior I'm going to do, so past the grommet, I'm going to do in conduit and cloth tape, just because cloth in the interior is a bit nicer. I don't really like using cloth tape in the engine bay, because if any oil ever drops onto it, which happens, it's just kind of ruined from there, whereas a nice like plastic tape you can just clean down and it's sweet. So here it is, the finished product. So as you can see here, I've got the relays set up, which are going to mount inside under the dash, the powers for the relays, which will drop down onto one of those studs, the ground, ECU, A and B connector, body connector, DTM8 for the interior connector, so switches or a link dash, he could run off that later if he wanted to. Come along, it's all cloth taped up to here, grommet, sit in the firewall, and then the map and map and CAN lambda wiring, and then the coil on plug breakouts for a later coil on plug conversion, and then kept the factory plastic so that it mounts to the engine all nicely. So we got left bank, right bank, and then the middle, which used to be a massive chunk of diagnostic wiring and shit, is now just 2 wires going to idle control. Then come down here, we got the igniters and then a fan plug breakout, so I can add a subloom that'll power the fan. So those are that'll run the fan. So those are just 2 fan powers from the relays. So yeah, it's a pretty simple loom, but it took quite a while because I had to strip a bunch of wires out of it, and I wanted it to be nice and tidy for Sam. But yeah, that's it for the wiring loom episode. I won't show us putting it on the engine in this video because this video is probably already way too long and I'll have a hard time getting it down to a reasonable amount of time. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions about it, just let me know in the comments and I'll try and answer any questions that you have. If I wanted to make a full in-depth video, it probably would have been like 40 minutes or an hour, so it's probably not going to be too much explanation on what I did. But if you do want something like that, I think Calvin at Cartoon Company NZ has videos on wiring up 1UZs, and maybe later on I'll try to do a full in-depth wiring loom video on another loom that I build for one of our next projects. But yeah, pretty excited to chuck it in the car, see if it all fits. What do you reckon, Sam?
Oh, it's sexy. Definitely going to be the tidiest engine bay that I own.
Yeah, hopefully, that's the plan.
Not hard, but
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one where hopefully we're chucking the engine in the car.
I don't really put much soul in it. It's like I don't think that I'm with it. I'm on the pro team. You'll be calling that Olympic. They see me rolling. Okay, millionaire, I'm sunning. Peter,